Hello to all you guys out there in YouTube land. Yes, it's me, Dual. I came outside because it's a little bit lighter, a little bit more refreshing. Anyway, thank you very much, Nelly, for tagging me in 50 questions. I got the 50 questions written right here, so I'm going to go through these. I'm not entirely sure who would actually be interested in any of the answers to these 50 questions, but hey, so I don't go into a two-part, which I probably will do. What do I like most about my hometown? Well, for those who don't know, my hometown is London. I was raised, I spent most of my time here. I mean, I'm considering it's most of the time you were growing up, because I did have a few close towns. I have this weird distinction between hometown and close town. Towns that are really close, but London. What do I like most about London? Depends. If you're talking about now, what do I like most about London? It's just, I don't know. It's got everything I need. It's got nightlife if I need it. It's quiet where I am. There's hustle. There's peaceful areas. And that's really about it. I mean, at the moment, it's just London. It's what I know. So maybe that sounds really bad, but I mean it in a really nice way. So it's home. It sums up all those warm feelings, those warm, glowy feelings, and you think about it. Even the bustle and some people who are just impolite and rude. It just sums up a lot of nice, warm kind of feelings within my soul. I don't know if that was an answer or not, but hey. Who was your favourite friend growing up? Now that's a really interesting one. Mainly because I haven't gone into this on YouTube a lot, so all these kind of past questions. My past, I spent a lot of time moving around. I had lots of people I was close to, but no one I would deem as like an extra specially favourite friend, which might sound very weird to people. And I don't want to make myself out to be this loner kid roaming around. It was more that I don't have someone who I look back at and I think that person is my really favourite person. It's quite weird, I know. I'm odd, okay? What was your favourite childhood activity? See, this is another odd one. I find it difficult because I did a lot when I was a kid. I had a lot of activities, and I was a very active kid anyway, so I didn't have a particularly favourite activity. If it was going to be, it would be running. Most things to do with running. I loved, like, soccer because I ran a lot. And I love rugby because I ran a lot. And I like long distance running because I ran a lot. And I like short distance running because I ran a lot. So if it was a favourite childhood activity, it would be running. What was my favourite Christmas ever? See, this is another thing. My family wasn't really, it was weird. They were into Christmas, but they weren't into Christmas. So I didn't really get into Christmas. Memorable Christmases I have. Favourite Christmases I don't. If I was going to bridge out one particular Christmas, probably the first Christmas I was away from home. That's probably the most memorable one, because that was the first Christmas. It sounds really bad, but it was the first Christmas where I had enough freedom to do what I wanted to, but it wasn't impeding on anything. It was like I didn't have any responsibilities to tie the Christmas down. So it was really cool. I had enough freedom to do exactly what I wanted to do over Christmas, but I didn't have to answer to anyone. So that was probably my favourite. It was like, finally the shackles are off. And people go back to their childhood and like really good Christmases. I didn't really have that many great Christmases, but that was it. That was the point. I was like, I can do what I want on Christmas. I don't have to do the pomp and ceremony and all that type of stuff. So that's probably my favourite Christmas. Who was my favourite teacher? Now, when I first thought, the first teacher that came to mind was a teacher that was actually called Miss Creasy, and we used to turn around and yes, childhood guy by pranks, we used to say Miss Creasy had a big crease. Now I don't know where she is now, but she was kind of cute. She but the thing was, she did fashion and textiles. We did fashion and textiles when I was a kid. There's probably a few kids that did fashion and textiles. It was compulsory to learn how to sew. Like random. Even in my generation, it's compulsory to learn how to sew. It was like fashion and textiles and home economics was basically sewing and cooking. And so Miss Creasy did fashion and textiles. Over teachers that I really liked, I'm trying to think now. I had an English teacher called Mr. Boyle, who was also my class head tutor, like the head of our little group, who basically took the roll call when you came in. Roll call felt like roll call, but he was brilliant, and I always remember him because he had something wrong with his lip, and it had to be surgically joined together. It split, and so I remember Mr. Boyle. But I'm trying to remember the teacher. There was Mr. Right. There was, I'm trying to remember his teacher, but he looked like a cross between Freddy Krueger and Wurzel Gummidge. And the worst was, when Halloween came, he dressed up as Freddy Krueger, but he didn't mean to. He just had the hat, and he just wore the stripy jumper. It was crazy. This guy looked like Freddy Krueger, apart from the burn of it, but he was like, he wore the hat all the time. I can't remember his name, but it was when he passed away, it was the saddest thing, because he was like the meanest teacher in the world, but we all loved him. It was really weird, and I can't remember his name. It fails me, and I apologise for not. But yeah, my favourite teacher, probably cross between Miss Creasy and Mr. Boyd. What was my favourite meal in school? This is a relatively easy one, but it probably tells you more about me than anything else. I really liked macaroni cheese. The school did this macaroni cheese, and it was awesome. And lumpy custard. I'd be the only kid to go back for lumpy custard. It was just, I loved it. It was just sweet and warm and lumpy and custardy. What was your favourite school subject? English lit. Probably English lit. The joy of the power of language always fascinated me when I was a kid. And the only time we kind of ever explored it properly or with any kind of depth was with literature and how literature changed. But it was primarily about the literature. I've become someone who's interested in linguistics as time goes on, and how words mean to different people and the power of words and that type of, and I'm fascinated by that. So probably English literature. What was your favourite school trip? See, the ones I loved more than anything else were going to Pendarren. There was this place in Wales called Pendarren, and it was compulsory for every school to go there, and they kind of shared this communal outhouse building, and all these kind of, state schools went there, and they took time out every year to go there, and you'd share it with other schools. And it was like you go and do orienteering stuff. I loved that. Loved it. I loved going to Pendarren. Pendarren was super cool. What is my favourite month? I'm going to be really, really annoying. July. Not only is it my birthday in July, towards the end, but it always was the warmest month. And I really like warmth, even though I've got hay fever, which probably isn't a art question. But I always loved July. I thought July was fantastic because it was just warm, and you could just, you didn't have to worry about being cold or being chilly, and it was just, I love it. But I'm also weird. I'd rather be too cold than too hot, because at least too cold you can wrap up and get warm. So yeah, July. What is my favourite season? Be summer. Love summer. Thing is, I love winter. I love the extremes, because the thing is, the winter's great because you can get warm and huddle up with people, but the summer's really cool. I think it's this. As I got older and less fit, and generally more out of shape, the more I've liked the winter, because you cover up and hide more, and it's more about being cozy. But when I was younger, I loved the summer because I just loved running around, even though I sneezed to death. I was like, achoo, I love the summer, achoo, I love the summer. What is my favourite animal? Woman. I love women. Considering we are part of the animal kingdom, I think women should be a category. So I love women. That's my favourite animal. Human beings, and especially women. What's my favourite style? See, this is an odd question. I don't have a style per se. My favourite style is dual. There you go. That's my favourite style. My favourite style is me, because it changes. I don't have that type of. If anyone was going to say what style I prefer, and I was actually pinned down, and I'm going to try and answer these, if I had a gun to my head, it'd probably be like cyberpunk. Even though I don't really like punk. I'm not really a punk. It's not my, but I kind of like the world of Blade Runner. If that was a style, cyberpunk, Blade Runner world, then that's cool. But I don't really have any affinity with any style. What is my favourite theme park? First thing that came in my head was Thorpe Park, which is a theme park close to where I am in Staines in Chertsey, which is it's like an hour's drive away from me. Well, hour and a half. But then the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, everyone's favourite's going to be like Disneyland or Disney World. Then there's like Whipsnade, but I don't know. The problem with theme parks is I get really excited and I go to them, and they're almost invariably a disappointment, like Hilton Towers. But when I was a kid, they were great, because I loved Thorpe Park when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. But now, when I went back to Thorpe Park, I was deeply, bitterly disappointed. I was like, this is Thorpe Park? What is my favourite theme park ride? See, this is I was thinking about this. It'd probably be something really sedate at the moment. Like, everyone's like, I like roller coasters, and like, I kind of like I kind of like the London dungeons walking through. My favourite theme park ride is something that I have like at least some form of control over. Probably the best idea is bumper cars. I don't have a favourite theme park ride, but then going back, my favourite theme parks is fun fairs. I love fun fairs, I think they're great, I love them. And my favourite ride in a fun fair is the bumper cars. There you go, 2 questions in one. Boom.